It seems to me that life is a preparation for death and nothing else, right? Life is a preparation for death. Life, in of itself, is a funeral and nothing else, right? If you have eyes to see, if you have an open mind, this video will not sugarcoat anything. I'm not about that hypocrisy. I'm all about that truth. And I know that it might be a downer. It sounds like a downer what I'm saying, but it is the truth, right? And we all should accept, we should accept what it is plain to see, right? Now think about this, we are born helpless, screaming, crying. We can't see. We're dumb. We don't know anything about anything. We're, mindless animals. We shit ourselves. We can't even survive by ourselves, right? And then, at the end of our lives, we regress to that state yet again. We have no teeth. We have to wear diapers. We can't eat. Our hearing, our eyes are fucked up. Our hair falls off, right? So, as a baby and as an older person, the beginning and the end of a human life is exactly the same, right? Our birth will be, or I should say, our birth is exactly how our deaths will be. It's the same state, right? It seems to me, from my observations, that in life, whatever we gain, whatever we earn, we will lose in time, right? Whatever it is, a family, a job, possessions, friends, affections, attachments, love, hate, all of the things that we gain in life, we lose them one after the other for various reasons, right? There are a lot of reasons why this happens. It seems to me that this is because life is trying to tell us that we shouldn't be so extremely attached to all of the objects that we own and to all of the people, and the status and the egotistical and materialistic things that keep us bogged down, right? So we lose everything, right? All of the things that we chase, all of the thrills, all of the fun, all of the sacrifices that we've done for all of the things that we love in this life, right? So many years wasted, so much energy employed, right? And then you find out that it was all for nothing, right? And even when you succeeded, when you achieved something, even then, the fulfillment, the ecstasy, the euphoria, it did not last. So even this sense of happiness goes away. Everything goes away, right? Throughout life, you find out, you are reminded that you are not who you think you are. You are reminded that you're not that smart, that you're not that beautiful or handsome, that people don't respect you as you imagined, that people don't like you as you imagined, etc., etc., right? Your family, it will leave you behind. It will abandon you. Your friends, your neighbors, right? Colleagues, schoolmates, best friends, your spouse, your kids, whatever. it will all go away in increments, yet again, again, and again, because life is a preparation for death. What else could it be? Right? Life is a funeral, and it should be lived as such, with a a dignified sobriety, maybe, right? But that's just my opinion from what I have seen, various experiences, which demonstrate that nothing really matters. Not what we do here, all of our connections, all of the silly things that we have to prove to ourselves and to others, etc., etc. Our jobs, all of the things that we own, our property, our bank accounts, our wallets, all of that shit doesn't matter. It would all go away. A constant disintegration of everything, right? And we still make so much noise, so much racket, all of this hullabaloo. For what? Right? Life is a preparation for death. It should be. Life is trying to tell us what awaits us, right? Life is trying to tell us that this existence of ours, so temporary, so momentary, it's trying to tell us that this is not it, that this is not the final station, that this existence of ours is, a station, just a station, not a terminal. That this short life that we have isn't that consequential, important, whatever you want to say, right? Life is trying to tell us that for the brief moment that we are here, it's trying to tell us, be very attentive, because what follows after this existence is the real deal. It's death. Okay? And, of course, some cultures, some people believe that, life really begins. Life only begins after death, right? But who knows? I mean, can you imagine? It's not enough that this life that was given to us without our consent, it's not enough that it was a shit show. Can you imagine a possibility that there is an afterlife? And that is where the real shit begins. Like, we thought that life was absolutely terrible, etc., etc., and we were depressed. We thought this was the real shit. But can you imagine that there is an afterlife? And this shit keeps on going on, and it keeps on getting worse. Right? So, in this sense, maybe life is a sort of entree, just a little taste of what truly is to come after death, right? And maybe I'm not making any sense, but it seems to me that this is it, right? Whatever you achieve, accomplish in this life, there will be absolutely no content, there will be no peace and quiet, there will be no satisfaction, no fulfillment. That is why most people keep on chasing thrill after thrill, possession after possession, because they are not happy. They will never be happy, but they do not have the courage to admit to themselves what is painfully obvious, that the life is not it. Life is not it. Life is just trying to tell us in its own way that we should prepare ourselves, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, for what lies ahead. What lies ahead is, of course, the big jump, maybe into nothingness. But maybe nothingness is not what we assume it to be. It might be way worse, right? And if we are not prepared to face it, to endure it, who knows what might happen, right? And from what I understand from various older cultures is that You don't want to die. In the moment of death, you do not want to be afraid. If you are afraid, terrified, in the moment of death, then that opens up an opportunity for you to be manipulated, bamboozled, and for you to be reincarnated here with your memory wiped, so that you can do this, all of this again, and suffer yet again, right? This seems to be what reality really is, that we are nourishment, energetic nourishment for beings that see us as food, and that it is trying to distract us from the truth, from the mission at hand. Our quest here is to be prepared for death. Life is a preparation for death. Life is a funeral. Life is a funeral. Okay? And most people, I think, it's obvious why they are this way, that it's a bit negative, it's a downer, right? People just want to have fun, they just want to enjoy themselves, but what happens when you're not interested in all of this, in all of these activities anymore? That what happens when you don't receive any, positive reaction from anything? What happens when you are bored of everything and everyone and you don't want to do anything? That is when you will be able to see and hear and think of what lies right in front of your eyes, right? Maybe then, once you have rejected the distractions, that is when it becomes clear that life is not what we assume it to be. Life is not a joy. Life is not a festival, a carnival. Life is certainly a spectacle, but it is of the ugly variety, right? Life is not here for the taking. All of that, seize the day, improve upon yourself, get motivated. It's not it. Life is not about that. Human life is not about that, right? We are here to understand and to prepare that life is just a brief moment, right? Just a blink of an eye. And what comes after might be, eternity in numbness, eternity in unconscious sleep, right? And most people, they can't handle that, and they're so afraid of it that they just spend whatever time they have here like it's a constant party. It's a normal, predictable reaction. We've all gone through it, right? But it doesn't change the fact that, in the end, we are nothing but dust. Everything will crumble to dust. And even that dust, after a trillion years, even that dust will vanish to nothing, right? And it's fine, right? I'm not here to depress anybody, right? But I would think that since we are adults here, and we're not about that bullshit, I'm certainly not about that hypocrisy, I never want to sugarcoat anything. For what? Right? It's staring you in the face, right? The truth must be accepted, right? Only by accepting what is obvious, even though it hurts, even though it is terrifying in some cases, we have to do it. Otherwise, what you have is a world filled with people who are, let's just say they are a bit undignified and they behave as children and their mindset is that of a child, their conduct, right? The way they talk, the subjects they talk about, right? Absolutely ordinary and mundane. There's nothing there, no soul, no passion, right? I think it's a good idea not to live with illusions and delusions, right? You cannot be deluded with these fantasies and these fancies that we're all so special and there's a special place for us. And, if you work hard enough, you'll succeed, follow your dreams, all of the cliches and platitudes, you know. I don't think that's a respectable way to live, right? Sugarcoating, living like a mindless fool, trying to convince yourself that it's such a joy to be alive, right? I don't think that's the way. I think that the only way we can really find, peace and quiet, to stop being so anxious all the time, is to embrace the abyss, to embrace the void, right? And I'm not telling people to be, desperately suicidal. Absolutely not. This is a mental and spiritual acknowledgement. Okay? By accepting that life is a funeral, that life is a preparation for death, that maybe that will give you some solace, some serenity. It certainly helped me. I used to worry, and I used to be troubled, and I used to be anxious all the time. 24/7, I couldn't sleep. I was a chronic insomniac, right? Because everything I did it by the book, and I still failed, and I was wondering why I was failing, and I was a mess. I was a mess, right? And then when I achieved stuff, when I gained stuff, when I was being successful, well, the joy did not come, or it did not last. It was just like a flash, and then it went away. And slowly but surely, I had to face the music, face the truth, and embrace it, right? That life is not, life is banal, bro. That's what I'm trying to get at. Life is banal. It's mediocre. People are boring. Life is boring. I should say people are the most boring of all, right? I mean, one of the things that I love the most is bad weather. Gray, dark, raining, or snowing, just a complete disaster, depressive. I like that because it tells me that what awaits us, right, is just one step away, right? It's there, right? It will never go away. This truth, this fact, it is undeniable. Life is a funeral. Life should be a preparation for death, nothing else. But being the scaredy cats that we are, even when, a death does happen in the family or whatever, a tragedy, even then we pretend that maybe this time there will be some sort of incredible revelation that will be so inspiring, right? That it will be uplifting. It will never happen. And we behave and we pretend like spineless cowards. Religion, priests, this is what they do. I should say, this is what they should do. Priests and religions should help prepare people to when we will all face death. That is what religion and priests should do. This should be their one and only job, to make sure that people don't go dying, in absolute terror, right? But if you've been at a funeral, at a religious sermon, you will see that priests do everything in their power to occupy themselves with everything else but prepare people for death, right? This is what the job of the priests should be, to make sure that people understand what is to come and that we should not be afraid. This is what religion should be, right? And I have to quote one of my favorite lines from The Sunset Limited by Cormac McCarthy, which a character says, show me a religion that prepares people for death, and that is a religion that I might join, right? I mean, it is undeniable that every human being, lives in fear, in absolute fear, right? But we pretend like it isn't so. We pretend that we have all the time in the world to fuck around with nothing. And we all say that life is so fucking precious, right? And then we have to contradict this by treating it like a commodity. We take it for granted, and we waste our precious time on banality and mediocrity, right? Because we all know, deep down we all know, that it is all irrelevant. What we do here, inconsequential, pointless. And we know that the real shit happens after this life. The real big crossing, right? That's about it. I think I've rambled enough. Hopefully nobody will be too depressed because of this video. Hopefully not. Hopefully you will grow in some way and accept what is painfully obvious. This life, it's not it. Who knows what happens after death? It might be a fucking shit show. It might be a nightmare, right? Who knows? We'll never know until we get there, right? But anyway, thanks for watching. If you wanna support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. See ya.